Lunacy Live. Let's face it, there's so much lunacy going on at the moment that let's do a little bit extra. So I thought we'd have a bit of fun. We'd set the energy space and we'd see which lunatics show up tonight. It is deliberately a lunatic magnet, and we are going to see who joins us tonight. So, to those of you who know who I am and what I'm about, you'll know what's coming. You'll have some idea. And to anyone new to the thread, I generally try and keep things upbeat. I teach people how to feel better easily, but we can also have fun on that journey as well, my friends. So there's nothing to stop us from having a bit of a laugh on this journey, because you don't need to take it too seriously. It's seriously good, but we don't need to take it too seriously. We can have a little bit of lunacy into the mix. So what's interesting, I've been having some really interesting discussions, and off the bat, I will do a blatant plug. So I've written a book called The Lunatic Gene, and it was initially meant to be a tongue-in-cheek publication, because my background is that I grew up in a lunatic asylum. I usually do a bit of public speaking, and sometimes I open up with that just to see what the reaction of the crowd is. And usually there's a bit of laughing, and some people say, yeah, I know what you mean. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't, because my parents were both psychiatric nurses. So I grew up in the housing accommodation that was on site on the actual hospital itself. So my bona fide playground for the first 17 years of my life was a psychiatric hospital. So when I say I grew up in a lunatic asylum, I really did, my friends. I really did. Oh, Tug, my Jedi friend, great to see you. Geez, it must be the middle of the night for you, my friend. I hope. Are you on the front lines? Are you flying drones? I saw your update, my friend. So I'm glad that you could actually make it onto this one. I was hoping that we'd get a chance to catch up before the imminent madness took over your life. So, and I hope you stay safe, my friend. I really do. I hope whatever happens next, that you stay safe. Make sure you do your energy exercises and do the bubble and do the protective stuff. So yeah, I'm sure it's in Lunacy Live. That's very appropriate for where you are tonight, in the middle of nowhere, on the front line. So fair play. So not yet. In 2 weeks, I'll be on the front. Thank you. I've got Harta Wan. Hi, bang. And I've got David Price. Hi. And I've got KC. Hello, sir. Well, hello to all of you, my Jedi friends. Thank you for joining this lunatic live. I wondered what lunatics were going to turn up and join me when I decided to do a bit of Lunacy Live. And here you all are. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to this lunatic live. Let's have a look. KC, straight out of the bat, what's your age? Why do you want to know, KC? So here we are. You could have asked me any question, and that's what you come at me with. So you tell me why you want to know and why it matters, and maybe I'll share my age with you. And why don't you tell me what your age is? So let me find out what's... I can't believe somebody's actually knocking the door at the moment. Now here it is midnight. So I've got no idea what the hell is going on knocking the door at midnight. So my friends, excuse me 1 second. And if anything happens, you'll know that it was taken live. So hang with it. Let me see who's at the door, who's knocking on the door at midnight. Let's find out. Let's see. Well, there we have it. That was my nephew at the door. Who would have believed it? Who would have believed it, my Jedi friends? So here we are. So let's have a look. So Casey's back. He's back on the age thing. I think that's 35. Well, fair play, Casey. I will definitely take that. I will take it, my friend. I will take it. So yeah, that sounds like a winner. So we thought we'd do a bit of lunacy here tonight, because I've noticed that the world is starting to move into the lunatic direction at the moment. So, and the people are so very serious about this stuff. that when I see all of this lunacy kicking off, I think people get so serious. It is so serious, so we can take it a little bit lighter, and that is really the aim of this thread, and the aim of the stream is to take it a little bit lighter and see who shows up. But I was genuinely curious to see when I put Lunacy live, who would actually turn up to it? Who would I mean, it's the sort of thing that I would join. I'd think, I wonder what's going on there. I wonder what happens next. So yeah, I would have jumped on. I would have jumped on out of curiosity, and I just wondered what other lunatics would join me tonight. So here we are, my friends. Here we are. We're going to share some lunacy. So for those of you that don't know anything about me, which probably most of you that are going to jump on tonight, so I am a bit of an expert in lunacy. I'm an expert in lunacy. And how can you possibly be an expert in lunacy? So as I said earlier on in the stream, for you that turn later on, I spent the first 17 years of my life in a lunatic asylum. So I had a playground, which was a psychiatric hospital, because we used to live, my parents both worked there, so we lived on site, and there were a load of families, all the staff used to live in the staff accommodation. So before and I'm sure I will show my age now. I'll give you a clue here, KC. When I was growing up, I didn't have a mobile phone, so we actually had to go out and hang out with other kids and find things to do to entertain us that didn't involve electronic intervention. So there you go. I've got Jack McGrath has jumped on. Let's see. Yo, I'm new to this channel, and I just came across this stream, and I thought I'd ask a random question real quick. Do you do any martial arts? The answer, Jack, is no. Back in the day, I did do a little bit of martial arts, but we're not talking to any sort of level. I did about 6 months when I was in my teens. I actually probably did about a year's worth in my teens, and I moved up to Sheffield about 20 years ago, and I did about 6 months of martial arts there, so hardly enough to really qualify me. And when I was up in Sheffield, I didn't even get the chance. I wasn't even there long enough to qualify to go for the next belt. So I was still on white belt when I left. So the answer realistically there, my friend, is no. Why do I look like some mad Buddhist monk? I could be a Shaolin ninja. Well, I have been told that I've got the look for it. So there you go. There's a bit of interesting random stuff for you. So yeah, there you go. Probably not the answer I'm guessing that you would probably have expected. But yes, I did do a little bit of a dabble, but then I thought, well, maybe not. For me, martial arts, the only times I did it was really just to keep myself in shape. And I preferred to play football. So football was a lot more pleasant way for me to keep myself in shape. Not that I was any good at football, but it did keep me in shape for several years. So that was really my preferred method of keeping myself in a general state of well-being. But fair play. And what about you, Jack? Are you a martial artist? Are you the man that would take down Chuck Norris back in the day? Or am I showing my age with the Chuck Norris analogies? Who knows? Who knows? You never know. So yes, that was it. So I guess I'm going back onto the and before I even go any further. So for those of you that are new to Thread, I usually start these live streams, and there's not really any particular agenda, and I do tend to read out all the comments. So if there's anything you want to throw out there, this is Lunacy Live. So if you just want whatever you want to throw in there, we just go with the flow on here, and we see where the energy and the vibe takes us, which is pretty much the way that we roll here, my friends. It's the way that we roll. So in between the comments, I will just randomly ramble with whatever feels on top of my mind, with whatever energy that I tend to be flowing with at the time. So we talk about lunacy. So let's talk about that. So some people talk about, when we went to school as kids, because we lived in a psychiatric hospital. Oh, Jack's back. Let's have a look. Fair enough. I've done JJJ and boxing for 10 months so far. Thinking about doing MMA as well. And it's great to hear answers from people um, and to know about their ambitions. Well, fair play to you, Jack. I think martial arts is great. I think it's a great thing to do. And I wish you luck on all of that. And I do watch a little bit of MMA. I think fair play to them. That's a very gladiatorial thing to be doing. And, there's some serious hard nuts doing that for a living. It was never my preferred thing. We just used to do that for free on the playground back in the day. So when I was at school, it was a lot more common to have like fights in the playground or in school or just outside. It was like a rite of passage. So by the time I hit round about the 14 years old mark, 14, 15, I'd sort of fought my way out of it. I'd had enough fights to realize that it was probably better just to talk about things. So I have not had to have a fight now since I was 14. So, and that's going back a few decades, a good few decades, my friends. So, yes, but my friends who have trained in martial arts tend to be the most level-headed people in the room because they've got nothing to prove. That's generally why, and they're not looking for a fight. So fair play. I do think it's a good thing to get into martial arts. I would recommend it to anyone, myself. I think general exercise is good. You've got to find something that you like and is sustainable. That was the main thing that I found. That anyone that was doing something like gyms for me, if when I didn't have access to like football teams and stuff like that, when I lived abroad, for example, I'd go to gyms and I hated it. I really didn't enjoy going to gyms at all. So, and I didn't do that for very long, and it wasn't very sustainable. So that's just the way that it rocked on the gym front. And that was that. So yes, do what makes you happy, Jack. And fair play to you. You know, it really you'll learn a lot about yourself doing MMA. That's for certain. You will face your demons, my friends. You will face everything. It was like a massive crash course in personal development from speaking to my martial artist friends. So, and here's something: I did go traveling in Brazil about 20 odd years ago, about 25 years ago. Went traveling in Brazil, and I met a load of people in Rio, and they were my mates. I'm still in touch with them now. We still follow them on Insta. But I met this group of random lads, and two of them were Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructors, and two of the loveliest guys you'll never meet. It was brilliant. They showed me around Brazil. I had a VIP tour. I used to hang out with these boys, and at the time I couldn't even speak any Portuguese, and they couldn't speak much English. And what the English they could speak, the only English they knew was from listening to music. So they knew enough for me to think I knew what they were talking about, but not enough to actually know what they were talking about. So they'd be asking me one thing and saying, "Do you understand?" at the end of it, and I'd say yes. And I'd follow the instructions, and they say, "But you told me you understood." I'd be like, "But that's what you told me to do." So I had 4 very interesting months being surrounded by people speaking a different language, and that was quite an adventure, my friends, in Brazil. It took me right into the Amazon as well. We covered quite a lot. We started in Rio. We went to this little island called Ilha Grande. Ilha Grande. It's Big Island, or Ilha Grande, as probably the English would pronounce it. We started there. They took me there for carnival because apparently the people that live in Rio, they get sick of the carnival, so they go to this tropical rainforest island. And the guy that I was with, he could speak to the animals. It was so far out there. He used to do this mad thing with his. It was like watching Monkey back in the day. He used to do this mad thing, and like birds would come and land around him. It was actually pretty impressive to watch. It was pretty impressive to see this guy in action, that is for sure. He used to do it. Wild monkeys would come down from the trees and take bananas off him and all sorts of mad stuff. So, Yeah, that was quite a trip, folks. That was a proper trip back in the day. And it's mad when you're backpacking as well, because back in the day they took me on this mad drive in the car, and none of them wore seatbelts. So when you're traveling, you're in a foreign country with a bunch of lads, and none of them are wearing seatbelts. You've got a decision to make. Do I put the seatbelt on and stand out like a sore thumb? Or do I ride it with the boys? No seatbelts. We'll see for me. Uh, Growing up in the 70s and 80s, we never had seatbelts anyway. So I thought, well, let's do it, folks. Let's do this. We've been here before. We've done stuff like this before. So yeah, I was cruising with the boys, and they were driving about 6 inches from the bumper of the car in front of us. And I tell you, it was that was a white knuckle ride that we had going up the freeway or the motorway in Brazil, heading towards the Amazon. Yeah, we had some interesting. It was an interesting trip, folks. Brazil is a great place to travel. It's a great place to travel. So yes, met a lot of good people there, and we're still in touch. So there you go. And I found out that my friends from Rio, they're cariocas. So I was a carioca by proxy. They took me under their wing, and I became a carioca for 4 months. I still am. Apparently, I'm sangy bong, which is blood good, which is a good thing. It's a compliment, folks, if you're in Brazil or those sort of parts. So there you go. That was a mad trip. There was a bit of lunacy going on there, and yeah, these boys they had some interesting habits, shall we say? Those martial artists, they used to balance it with other stuff. That is for certain. So yeah, that was good fun. It's good fun out in Brazil. So on the Lunacy live stream, on this theme, what I found interesting about lunacy is that inside a psychiatric hospital, like if any of the patients used to show any desire to do harm to themselves or others, they either used to get sectioned, which was pretty much locked up. They'd get medicated, they'd get pinned down and injected with a sedative, or in really extreme cases, they'd get electrocuted, which was this thing called ECT, electric convulsive therapy. And they put all these probes on their head and just shoot like electric through their head. Like I watched it, it was so barbaric. I actually saw them do it to this old woman, and she wet herself in front of me. It was awful. It was an awful barbaric thing. And so these were the methodologies they had in a psychiatric hospital. So if you showed any desire to do any harm to yourself or other people, that's what they used to do to you. And yet outside of a psychiatric hospital, if you show any desire to do harm to other people en masse, that pretty much qualifies you as a world leader at the moment. So when people talk about lunatic asylums, I say from someone that spent 17 years inside an actual lunatic asylum, I can tell you it was a lot less lunatic in there than it is outside. So that was my general conclusion about these things, which was all good, friendly fun, my friends. So yes, there we go. There's a little bit of a random share about life in a lunatic asylum, my friends. So there you go. You've had a little dose of lunacy tonight, and so I think that we've probably covered enough. Probably covered enough for one little session, my friends. I just thought I'd see who's going to show up, but I've had a lot less comments on this one than I usually do. So it's probably the timing. It's probably a different time of the day. It's because I'm doing this is probably as late a one as I've done. So, I was interested to see if there are any night owls here based in the UK. But I'm guessing that the people that are showing up here probably largely in America. So my lunatic friends, I'm going to probably sign off in the next couple of minutes. If there's anything that anyone wants to add, anything they want to share, any sort of shout outs that you want me to read out before I finish this stream, then now is the time to do it, because I will be curtailing this in a couple of minutes. That is the plan. That's the plan, my friends. I just thought I'd test this and see who showed up, to see who showed up tonight, and to have a bit of fun and to see a bit of lunacy. So all tuggers stayed with me for the duration. Well, my friend, it's great to have you on here. I really do wish you the very best. My best wishes are with you. We'll be sending you lots of energy from the group. And when we actually do our meetup, we're gonna do an energy exercise for you, my friend. We shall send energy vibes to keep you out of trouble's way on the front line when you're out there, my friend. So you take care of yourself. It's dodgy places to be. It's a dodgy place to be in the Ukraine at the moment. So kudos to you, my friend. And Jack is still here. It was glad to hear your answers and stories. Good night and have a good day. Thanks, Jack. Thanks for jumping on and thanks for getting active in the chat. Usually it's a bit more active, the chat, than it has been tonight. But you showed up and I appreciate you jumping on there, my friend. So wishing you all a brilliant rest of your weekend, and I shall catch you all later. And if you're not subscribed, folks, and you like random chats, because I do a few random ones like this these days, where people get on and just join in and share anything you like, then do like and subscribe to the channel, folks, because the YouTube algorithm is not being very friendly at the moment. Probably because I use too much fruity language, but I've kept it down to be on the good, to get off the naughty step on YouTube on this live stream anyway. All right, my friends, you take it easy. I'm going to call it a night now and wish you all the very best. You take care and I shall catch you all soon.